We live on the planet Earth in the solar system. Only 29% of the planet Earth is dry land, while 71% is water in the form of oceans. Above this land and under the water, life exists in abundance. Human beings are one of them. There are billions of living creatures that inhabit this Earth. Every living being has to die one day, but the surprising fact is that no one knows about its time of death. This is also good in a way because if they know about their time of death beforehand, then their life will be miserable and without any meaning or purpose. This uncertainty keeps humans active and pushes them to excel in the world and explore new frontiers of human potential and intelligence. But you will be surprised to know that in this world, certain people somehow knew about their time of death. Of course, you may find this unbelievable, but let us tell you about these famous people. The first name among these people is the renowned Roman general Julius Caesar. The Roman Empire lasted for about 1,000 years, from 510 BC to 476 AD. Julius Caesar is regarded the most famous person of the Roman era. He is considered one of the greatest military commanders in the world. He expanded the borders of the Roman Empire up to the English Channel in Great Britain and the Rhine River in Germany. His conquests made him the most powerful and popular person in the empire. Because of his influence and popularity, the powerful circles of the Roman Empire of that time turned against him. As a result of the conspiracies, he was deposed as a general and ordered to disband his army and return to Rome. Julius Caesar disobeyed this order and entered the city of Rome with his army carrying weapons. This led to a civil war in the Roman Empire. In this struggle, Julius Caesar proved victorious and ultimately became the most powerful man in Rome. This further fueled resentment against him among the nobles of the empire. In the last days of his life, Julius Caesar was warned by the famous astrologer Vestriscius Spurina to be very vigilant during the next 30 days, which were to end on March 15th, because his life was in grave danger. Still, Julius Caesar did not take his warning seriously. It is said that strange things began to happen as March 15th approached. On the evening of March 14th, Julius Caesar told his wife a strange sentence: "The quicker death is better than the slower death." On the night between March 14th and 15, all the doors and windows of Caesar's palace were opened by a strong gust of wind. In the middle of the night, Calpurnia, the wife of Julius Caesar, woke up screaming. She dreamed that Julius Caesar's palace had fallen to the ground and the dead body of Julius Caesar was swinging in her arms. On the morning of March 15th, she begged Julius Caesar not to attend the Senate meeting that day, but Julius Caesar ignored his request and went ahead to attend the meeting. On his way to the Senate, Julius Caesar saw Vestriscius Spurina. He laughed at him and taunted that he had been proved wrong because a whole month had passed and the date was March 15th, but nothing happened to him. He was unharmed. Spurina replied to Caesar that the day of March 15th had started, but it had not yet passed. When Caesar reached the Senate, 60 assassins were already there and prepared to attack and kill Julius Caesar. Among them was Mark Brutus, who was considered Caesar's illegitimate child by Caesar himself and the rest of the people of Rome. When Brutus stabbed Julius Caesar with a dagger, Julius Caesar fell to his knees, and his last words were, "You too, Brutus." Thus, this strange prophecy was fulfilled about the death of Julius Caesar. The death occurred exactly on the date given to him, that was March 15th. The second name on this list is Nostradamus, a resident of France who is considered to be the greatest astrologer ever born in the world. Nostradamus made hundreds of predictions, which have so far proved true. He also knew about the day of his death. He is the same person on whom Hollywood made the famous movie, The Man Who Saw Tomorrow. Nostradamus was born in December 1503 AD and died at the age of 62 on July 2nd, 1566 AD. He wrote a total of 12 books containing prophecies about the future, including the reign of Napoleon, the 2 world wars, the terrible fire in London, and then the outbreak of the plague, the French Revolution, the rise of the British Empire, Hitler's rule, etc. One day before his death, Nostradamus called the Church Father to perform all the religious rites that were customarily performed for a dying person at that time. On the evening of July 1st, he told his secretary, Jean de Chavigny, "You will not find me alive at sunrise." The next morning, Nostradamus was found dead, lying on the floor next to his bed and a bench. This was the last prophecy of Nostradamus, which proved to be 100% correct. The third name among these people is that of Abraham de Moivre. He was a well-known mathematician. He was born on May 26, 1667, in France. The main reason for its popularity is a famous formula in mathematics called the Moivre formula, because of his name. This formula describes the relationship between algebra's complex numbers and trigonometry. In the last days of his life, Abraham de Moivre noticed that every successive night, his sleep duration was 15 minutes longer than the previous night. He calculated that he would die when his sleep period reached 24 hours. From this calculation, de Moivre estimated the date of his death to be November 27, 1754. Abraham was indeed an excellent mathematician, and his calculations proved to be correct. He died on his calculated date of death, and that was November 27, 1754. Arnold Schoenberg is the fourth person on this list. He was an Austrian-origin American. He is considered to be one of the most famous composers of the 20th century. Arnold Schoenberg had a psychological illness called triskaidekaphobia. A person suffering from this illness feels fear of the number 13. He was also born on 13th of September, 1874. This fear haunted him for the rest of his life. In 1939, when his age was 65, his fear grew exponentially because the year 1939 also contained digits 1 and 3, which made up the number 13. Schoenberg was so troubled by that year that an astrologer was called in to make Schoenberg's horoscope. The astrologer made calculations and informed Schoenberg that the year 1939 was indeed very unpleasant for him, but it was not fatal that could cost his life. In 1951, when Schoenberg was 76 years old, the same situation arose. His age contained figures of 6 and 7, which made 13 when combined. Schoenberg's fear came true eerily when he in fact died that year. Surprisingly, his date of death was also July 13th. The fifth person on this list is the famous writer of English literature, Mark Twain. His books are taught at colleges and universities. Halley's Comet is visible from Earth only once every 75 to 79 years. Mark Twain was born 2 weeks after Halley's Comet appeared in 1835. Throughout his life, Mark Twain had the strong belief that he would die at the time of the next appearance of Halley's Comet. "I came in with Halley's Comet," Mark Twain commented in 1909. "It is coming again next year. The Almighty has said, no doubt, now there are these two unaccountable freaks. They came in together, they must go out together." He died on April 21, 1910, due to a heart attack, one day after Halley's Comet had once again appeared. Rasputin is the sixth man who knew about the time of his death. It was rumored that he was initially an ignorant and illiterate farmer who later somehow acquired mystical healing and hypnotic powers. By using these powers, he could influence people easily. He once successfully treated the complicated illness of the crown prince of the Russian Empire after the doctors gave up. This brought him very close to Queen Alexandra. Consequently, Rasputin's influence grew in the court of the Tsar of Russia. It was rumored that Rasputin had illicit affairs with the wives of the elites of the court. This made many nobles his mortal enemies. On the night between December 29th and 30, 1916, these nobles invited Rasputin to a party and gave him cakes and wine laced with poison. Strangely, the poison had no significant effect on Rasputin. Seeing his condition stable, the nobles then attacked him with iron rods and shot him dead. They threw his body in a nearby river called Little Nevka. At the time of his death, his age was 47 years. After Rasputin's death, some papers written in his own handwriting were found in his house. These papers showed that Rasputin knew in advance that he would not see the coming year, 1917. These papers also contained a special message in the form of a prophecy to the then King Nicholas of Russia and his queen. That was read, "If I am killed by an assassin, a peasant, a laborer, or a common man, the king need not worry, and his kingdom will last for centuries. But if I am assassinated by the princes and nobles of Russia, then the king and his royal family will be killed within 2 years. And all the elite of Russia will be killed or exiled within 25 years of the king's death." The above prophecy proved correct. He could not see the year 1917. Within a year of his assassination, the communist revolution took place in the country, in which the king and his entire royal family were killed. By 1942, the communist regime had decimated almost every noble and rich person in Russia.